What is going on, everyone? I hope you're all having an awesome week so far. Today, we are kicking things off with story 1, and honestly, I really need your take on this because living with family can genuinely drive you insane. So, I'm 29, and I'm currently living with my 60-year-old mom while I save up for a car. We split the rent right down the middle, but because we both work incredibly grueling full-time jobs, we have a system. I do the vast majority of the housework, and she does the cooking. Now, I'm the kind of person who loves surprising people with little gifts and treats. My mom is usually one of those people, but when it comes to me, I can literally never get it right in her eyes. For example, if I'm at the store and want ice cream, I'll grab her favorite flavor, vanilla bean. If her usual brand is out, I'll grab a different high-quality brand. But the first time I did that, instead of a simple thank you, she threw a total toddler tantrum. She complained about the brand, told me it was wrong, and rudely forced me to keep it. So I stopped doing that. Well, the other day, it happened again. It was my day off, so I decided to be nice and take some steaks out of the freezer. Since she usually cooks, I figured I'd take that physical burden off her shoulders and make a nice dinner for us. When she walked in, I excitedly told her the plan. Instead of being happy, she instantly got irritated. She started snapping at me, asking why I pulled out steak when we still had leftover chicken and hamburger in the fridge. I told her I was just trying to do something nice, but she got even madder, accusing me of wasting food and screaming that we aren't rich. At that point, I just snapped. I yelled that I am apparently completely incapable of being thoughtful in her eyes, ran to my room, and started crying. I was just so hurt. I thought, screw it, and ordered McDonald's to be delivered just for myself. When the food arrived, my mom had the absolute audacity to ask why I didn't offer her any. I reminded her that she just got done screaming at me for trying to feed her, all because she was so hell-bent on eating leftovers. I told her, you can have your leftovers, but I'm eating McDonald's. She called me petty and childish, but I reminded her that she does this every single time I try to do something nice. I went back to my room, ate my food, and we didn't speak for hours. Thankfully, we did eventually sit down and have a massive talk. I stood my ground and told her point blank that I am sick of getting shot between the eyes every time I try to be kind. I reminded her that my rent money is currently funding her cigarette habit and her car payments. Plus, I pay over $100 a month for storage units that are mostly filled with her hoarding stuff. I told her if she didn't stop treating me like this, I was moving out and leaving her to deal with all those bills alone. Surprisingly, hitting her with reality actually worked. She apologized and admitted she was just stressed about the leftovers. We ended up compromising. From now on, no more surprise treats for her. If her favorite brand is out, I'll just call and ask her first. It sucks because I love surprising people, but if it keeps the peace, whatever. Alright, so here are my thoughts on this situation. This reality check was desperately needed. It is exhausting to live with a parent who constantly criticizes every single nice gesture. When someone is paying full rent and doing all the chores, they deserve basic respect, not constant nitpicking. But what do you guys think? Was she being petty by not ordering her mom McDonald's? Or did she completely bring this on herself? Drop your thoughts in the comments below and stick around because we have more stories coming your way. Moving right along to story 2. This one is a masterclass in petty revenge. And honestly, it is so incredibly satisfying. So, I'm the manager of a retail store, and we kind of share a parking lot with the house next to us. It looks like one big lot, but my side has only 3 spots, clearly marked for customers only. The other side belongs to my neighbor, Betty, who is this lovely older woman who runs an in-home therapy practice and occasionally brings me cookies. Now, there's this other woman, we'll call her Karen for fun, who works at the gas station on the other side of my store. We do not share a parking lot with them. For some reason, Karen insisted on parking in my store's spots, 3 separate times. I asked her to stop. The petty side of me wanted to tow her so bad, but my signs didn't have the legal tow away at owner's expense wording on them yet. Every time I confronted her, she would just yell at me, ignore me, or tell me to shut up. Well, the other day, she pulled into my lot again. I went out to ask her to move, and she started arguing, claiming I don't own the streets. I finally told her if she didn't move, I was calling the police. She got this stupid little smirk on her face and said, "Fine, I'll just park over there then," and moved her car right into one of Betty's spots, thinking she was outsmarting me. What she didn't realize is that Betty has a giant sign at the entrance that legally says, "Private property, violators will be towed." I pretended to look defeated, so she thought she won. Walked inside, and immediately called Betty. Betty was thrilled to help and called her tow company on the spot. Karen didn't notice until the tow truck was already pulling away with her car. She was screaming and throwing an absolute tantrum in the middle of the street while I watched from my porch with a massive smile on my face. But guys, the story doesn't even end there. I actually got into a minor car accident on my way home that night, so I had to take the rest of the week off. While I was gone, my assistant manager happily hung up brand new, fully legal tow signs in our lot, too. A few days later, Karen marched into my store furious, demanding to see me. When my assistant told her I was out, Karen snapped, "Well, that be asterisk TCH is paying me back for towing my car." My employee texted me what was happening, so I called the store and told them to put me on speakerphone. I asked how I could help her, and she screamed, "You can start by paying the $500 it took to get my car out of the impound lot." I told her, "Yeah, I'm not doing that. I warned you multiple times, and it's not my fault you can't read signs." She tried to play lawyer and said, "You don't have tow signs in your lot, so what you did was illegal." I laughed and said, "You're right. I didn't have the signage, but my lovely neighbor whose spot you stole does. But tell you what, I'll bet you $500 there's a sign out there right now. And as a bonus, my assistant will even show you our new and improved signs." My assistant took her outside and pointed right at Betty's sign. Karen couldn't even speak. My assistant said she looked like a cartoon character with smoke coming out of her ears. All right, so here are my thoughts on this situation. This is a masterclass in malicious compliance. She played stupid games and won a $500 prize. Moving a few feet over to outsmart a boundary backfired completely, and demanding a refund for her own mistake is peak entitlement. But what do you guys think? Was she a genius for letting her park in the neighbor's tow zone? Or did she get treated a little too harshly? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And stay tuned, because we've got another crazy story coming right up. Let's jump right into story 3. This one takes a look at the confusing world of online friendships, relationship boundaries, and what happens when trying to be a good friend completely blows up in your face. So, I'm 27, and I recently ended a friendship with a 28-year-old girl. We met online, and a few days into chatting, she told me she was actually dating someone and just wanted to be friends. I completely respected that. We had a ton in common, and per her request, we kept everything strictly online because she had a boyfriend. We ended up texting literally all day long, anytime we had a free second. A couple of days ago, she was having a really rough time. Her boyfriend totally blew her off on a date night, pushed it back, and then canceled at the last second. Because of her past history with anorexia, she stopped eating when she got stressed. And she texted me saying she really didn't want to be alone. It was already 11 o'clock at night, but I got up and drove 40 minutes to her house, bringing her the exact snacks and soda she asked for to help her feel better. When I got there, we just did a quick hug, sat on her porch chairs, and talked about random life stuff for 3 hours to distract her. After that, I said goodbye and drove home. The next day, she talked to her boyfriend and they made up. Since things seemed stable again, I asked if she wanted to go to a concert with me in a few weeks, since I already had a ticket and could easily grab another. That immediately sparked a conversation where she told me her boyfriend was uncomfortable with her going. Before I could even reply, she quickly added, "He's not being controlling, he's just worried about my safety." That felt a little hypocritical to me. So we got into a heated discussion. I brought up the previous night on the porch and asked, "Well, did you feel safe with me?" I admit, I probably pushed a little too hard, and I asked her what her boyfriend would think about me coming over at midnight. She admitted she didn't feel comfortable telling him about that night at all. We ended the talk, and I told her I'd let her know in the morning if I even wanted to stay friends. The next morning, she officially set a boundary and told me that we would never be seeing each other in person again. I told her that was fine, and that we could keep texting, but I explicitly told her I was going to pull back, talk to her less, and start focusing my energy on my real-life relationships. Well, she completely lost it on me. She called me a manipulator, a walking red flag, and claimed that if her boundary hurt my feelings that much, we shouldn't talk at all. She literally texted me, "It is not my fault that a boundary hurt your feelings." All right, so here are my thoughts on this situation. Boundaries apply to your own actions, not to controlling how others react. No one can demand midnight comfort visits and then expect the other person to just act like a text bot whenever a boyfriend is around. Pulling back was the healthy choice. But what do you guys think? Was he being a manipulative red flag for telling her he was pulling back? Or did she just want all the benefits of a boyfriend from him without any of the effort? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And stick around because we have more stories coming your way. Let's jump right into story 4 for this video. This one is a perfect example of malicious compliance. And it's a massive win for anyone who has ever had a supervisor try to disrupt their weekend. So, a while back, I was working as a systems analyst. This was during the height of the pandemic, so we were all working from home. I was a non-exempt employee, meaning I worked a strict 40 hours, Monday through Friday, and anything over that was paid overtime. Right before lockdown started, our VP, who was an absolute legend, explicitly told us that unless we were exempt, we were under no circumstances to answer any work emails, texts, or calls outside of business hours. He even said if anyone gave us trouble about it, to come straight to him. Well, as the main analyst, I was one of the only people in the company who knew how to run super complicated data reports. A few weeks into lockdown, a supervisor from a different branch emailed me on a Saturday morning demanding a report. Because I was off the clock, I ignored it. But this supervisor was relentless. He called my phone once, twice, 3 times, and then sent a text demanding I stop being unprofessional. boot up my computer, and answer his email. I decided to provide exactly what he requested, a reply. I booted up my PC, opened the email, and without doing a single second of actual work for the report, I hit reply, but I made sure to CC our VP. My message read, "Hi, per the VP's strict policy, I am not allowed to work or answer emails on weekends. I am currently waiting for the VP's approval to run this for you." I hit send and just left my computer running, knowing a total storm was brewing. Less than 10 minutes later, the VP emailed me directly. He told me to hold off on the report and asked to call, explicitly noting that the phone call would count as overtime. During the call, he asked if the supervisor had harassed my personal phone and requested screenshots of the texts. He told me, "Do not run the report. Turn off your PC and enjoy your weekend." Monday morning, I logged in to see a very direct company-wide email from the VP. He fiercely reminded all supervisors that analysts were non-exempt and no one was to contact us outside of work hours again. Any emergencies had to go through him first. When my next paycheck hit, there were an extra 3 hours of overtime added, even though the whole ordeal took maybe an hour. After that, nobody dared to disturb my peace on a weekend again. Whenever the VP actually needed me for an emergency, he always made sure I was paid at least 2 hours of overtime, even if the task took 20 minutes. And that supervisor? He didn't get fired, but he received a major dressing down. On our next Zoom call, he looked completely subdued and avoided eye contact with me the entire time. Alright, so here are my thoughts on this situation. This was handled beautifully. When a company establishes rules to protect personal weekend time, managers need to follow them. Attempting to bully an employee on a Saturday morning was unprofessional, and looping in the VP was a total power move. But what do you guys think? Was it the right move to loop the VP in immediately? Or did he take things too far? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and stay tuned, because we've got more stories coming your way. Let's jump right into story 5. This one is completely wild, and it highlights a relationship red flag so massive you won't even believe it. So, I accidentally knocked my girlfriend's curling iron onto the floor the other day and broke it. I felt terrible, apologized immediately, and went online right then and there to replace it. I went to the official TYMO website, ordered her the exact same iron, and then decided to be extra nice and threw in an upgraded, nicer Gold Plus model as well. I wanted to show her I was taking care of it, so I showed her the confirmation screen. Well, she immediately noticed that I had used a discount code. Instead of saying thank you, she completely flipped out. She told me that using a coupon made it seem like I wasn't genuinely sorry for breaking her stuff. She actually demanded that I cancel the order and buy everything all over again at full price. According to her, paying a sale price was cheap and showed a complete lack of sincerity. I was completely losing my mind. She was getting the exact same products, plus a massive upgrade. Why on earth would deliberately wasting money and paying more to a random corporation prove that I was more sincere? We argued about it for a long time, and honestly, just to stop the fighting, I gave in. I canceled the order and rebought everything at full price. But guys, it gets so much better. After the fight, I sat there thinking about how toxic the whole situation was, and I realized I was being completely manipulated. So, I sat down and wrote her a breakup text. I am officially out of that mess. And as a final cherry on top, I went back and canceled that full price order. Then, I reordered the curling iron with the discount code, and I'm gifting it to my mom instead. I know she's actually going to appreciate it. Alright, so here are my thoughts on this situation. Breaking up was the best decision ever. Demanding that a partner deliberately waste money just to prove an apology is textbook toxic behavior and a massive power trip. Gifting the discounted iron to the mom instead is pure poetic justice. But what do you guys think? Is using a discount code on an apology gift actually cheap? Or was she being completely out of touch with reality? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and stick around because we've got more stories coming your way. And finally, let's wrap things up with story 6. Our last story for today. This one is a textbook case of family completely taking advantage of a situation under the guise of helping you out. So, I'm a 20-year-old full-time uni student, and I also work part-time. A few months ago, my aunt offered to rent me a room in her house because it's way closer to my job. I want to be clear, I am not living there for free. I pay rent, utilities, and my own groceries. Now, she has 5-year-old twins. They're good kids, but they are incredibly loud. They run around, scream, and for some reason, they get a massive burst of energy at midnight and start howling. I knew what I was signing up for, so I wasn't expecting library silence. But it can be a lot. The real issue, though, is the babysitting. At first, my aunt would ask me to watch them for 30 minutes while she ran a quick errand. No big deal. But lately, I'll only be an hour has turned into 3 or 4 hours, sometimes keeping me up until 11 o'clock at night. This is happening multiple times a week. Right when my major semester exams are coming up. My aunt is honestly very sweet, and I know she desperately needs a break. Mostly because my uncle is completely useless as a father, but I try to stay out of their marriage. I finally sat them down and told them I couldn't babysit anymore because I needed to study. My aunt offered to pay me, which was nice, but I told her money isn't the problem. I already pay to live here. I literally just do not have the time. At that point, my uncle chimed in and told me I was overreacting. He literally said I need to learn to study with noise and asked, "What are you going to do when you have kids?" I wanted so badly to tell him he wouldn't know anything about that since he's never around, but I kept my mouth shut. Instead, I went out, found a new apartment near my work, and decided to move out. Now, both of them are absolutely furious. They're calling me ungrateful and accusing me of abandoning the family after they offered to help me. I feel incredibly guilty because I love my aunt and the kids. But between university, my job, studying, and now regular, unpaid childcare, I am completely exhausted. Alright, so here are my thoughts on this situation. Moving in with family is almost always a trap because they quickly stop seeing you as a tenant and start seeing you as a free nanny. Paying financial rent means you do not owe them free labor. Moving out was the only way to save your sanity. But what do you guys think? Was he being ungrateful by packing up and leaving? Or did they completely cross the line by treating a paying tenant like a free nanny? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss another story compilation. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today, and I will see you all in the next video.